Volkswagen introduced the Atlas 3-row SUV in 2018 as a replacement for the aging Touareg. For 2024, it receives updated exterior styling, but the company made more substantial changes underneath the sheet metal. Prior to the redesign, the Pilot was one of the more boring SUVs suffering from drab interior and weird-looking exterior. The 2023 model overhaul addresses those gripes, introducing a more cohesive package to better compete in its segment. In this video, we'll compare both SUVs' designs inside and out, pricing, and how they drive. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. After looking more or less the same for 6 years, the Pilot has finally been completely redesigned for 2023. In fact, even the platform it rides on is brand new. The design language is similar to that of the new Honda CR-V that launched last year, with a towering hood, large grille, sleek headlights, and a strong beltline that gives it a more powerful stance. The side profile is muscular and athletic, featuring a couple of lines and creases, accentuating the vehicle's length, but with less protruding elements as in the Atlas. At the rear, the changes are extremely effective in refining the Pilot's style. The most obvious change is the larger Pilot lettering now positioned in the center of the liftgate, just below the Honda logo, in addition to the fake exhaust finishers and rear diffuser. Overall, this new Pilot is much more athletic than its rounder predecessor. The original Atlas didn't exactly have the best appearance, especially up front, but now, with its facelifted version, they've made some much-needed changes. The front end has a more squared-off look, sporting a wider rectangular grille with less chrome. The headlights are positioned more towards the edges, giving it a wider appearance even though it's actually the same size as before. Moving to the side, it's all about muscle and athleticism. There is a line that starts above the front wheel arches and runs all the way to the back, emphasizing the vehicle's length. It really adds to its overall appeal. At the rear, however, not much has changed. The large Atlas lettering positioned in the center of the liftgate just below the VW logo is still present, while the revised taillights are now connected by a full-width LED bar. Overall, both the Atlas and Pilot are more aggressive looking than their predecessors, and in terms of size, they're pretty much identical. But when it comes to style, the Pilot is the winner here. Jumping inside, Honda's dated-looking interior of the 3rd gen is gone, and it now steps into 2023 with fresh lines, new tech, and a more thoughtful and family-friendly cabin. If you've been in a new CR-V, its layout and design will be fairly familiar. The look is clean and uncomplicated. The dash is low and aids in both visibility and making the cabin feel spacious. All the buttons and knobs feel high quality with tight, solid action, whether it's a turn signal stalk or the highly welcome climate control dials. There is an abundance of premium materials up front, although the plastics do get worse as you move back. The biggest letdown in the Pilot is that the LX and Sport trims get a tiny 7-inch screen. And even the upgraded 9-inch touchscreen is way too small by today's standards. The infotainment system itself isn't as advanced as that in the Atlas, but it is better than the outgoing model. Featuring large, attractive, and easy-to-press icons, there are fewer layers of menus and far faster reactions. It's a system that's actually nice to use. The 10.2-inch digital cluster exclusive to the Elite is cool to look at, but doesn't offer much in the way of additional functionality. As for the Atlas, the interior design sees a far more substantial change than the exterior, apart from the steering wheel which carries over from last year. The cabin has been revamped with more premium materials. It features a leatherette-trimmed soft-touch dashboard and center console, which VW redesigned to include a storage cubby underneath. Top-of-the-range models feature quilted leather seats with a diamond stitch pattern. There is some hard-touch plastics lower down, but everything within immediate reach feels premium. Compared to the Pilot, it's fairly similar in both ergonomics and material quality. Unlike the Pilot's tiny screen, however, a massive 12-inch touchscreen comes standard on all versions of the Atlas and is joined by a corresponding 10.3-inch digital instrument cluster. The new center touchscreen replaces last year's base 6.5-inch screen and the optional 8-inch display on higher models, and uses better graphics with a more concise home screen. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard and can be used wirelessly. As for passenger and cargo space, the Pilot's wheelbase is 3.5 inches shorter than the VW, though they are very similar in overall length. The front occupants have plenty of room length and height-wise, but hip room is slightly better compared to the Atlas. The second row offers 3.2 inches less legroom than the VW, with a nifty middle seat that can be removed and stored in the trunk. Legroom in the Pilot's third row grew to a max of 32.5 inches, making it even friendlier for bigger teens and adults, even in the 6-foot-plus category. As for cargo space, behind the third row there is 18.6 cubic feet. With the third row folded, space grows to 48.5 cubic feet, or 85 with the second row folded. As for the Atlas, its wheelbase is almost an inch longer than that of the Toyota. The front seats are well cushioned and supportive, and there is ample space for taller drivers and passengers to stretch out. The second row seats are similarly spacious and comfortable, and there is ample space for taller passengers to stretch out. But the third row is admittedly tighter. It's still roomy enough for short adults to fit with wiggle room to spare, which is rarely the case in this segment. Kids, on the other hand, will have more than enough room. As for cargo space, behind the third row there is 20.6 cubic feet. With the third row folded, space grows to 55.5 cubic feet, or 96.8 with the second row folded, making it bigger than the Pilot across the board. When it comes to pricing, the 2023 Pilot LX starts at $37,645 and comes standard with LED headlights and taillights, 18-inch alloy wheels, and 3-zone climate control. The Sport is $40,800. If you want the larger infotainment system, opt for the EXL for $43,600, while the top-of-the-line Elite trim goes for $53,700. As for VW, the 2023 Atlas SE is $1,400 more expensive and starts at $39,000 and comes standard with LED headlights and taillights too, IQ Drive driver assistance, and 3-zone climate control. SE with technology is $43,000, but if you want to go all out on the luxurious SEL Premium R-Line model, this version will cost you at least $53,800. As for Honda, the 2023 Pilot is offered with a single V6 engine option that may appear to have been carried over from 2022, but it's in fact a new 3.5-liter dual overhead camshaft producing 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. A 10-speed automatic is paired with paddle shifters for manual control. As good as the engine and transmission pair, they are not able to overcome the Pilot's weight. This 2023 model weighs about 300 pounds more than the 2019 Pilot Elite and takes 6.9 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour, making it more than half a second slower. That extra mass also lengthens the Pilot's stop-in distance from 60 miles per hour by 6 feet relative to the 2019 version. The Honda Pilot has always been popular for its comfortable ride, but the 2023 model builds on that further. The updated chassis is taut and refined, with little body roll despite the big boxy body. Honda's tuning of the suspension also improved the ride, which absorbs bumps with ease. One of the biggest changes is the reduction of in-cabin noise. With more sound insulation, the Pilot tackles tire and wind noise easily, though engine noise is still noticeable. As for VW, the 2024 Atlas also received a significant change under the hood. A turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine now powers it, replacing the VR6. It makes 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, and pairs with an 8-speed automatic transmission that powers the front wheels. This new engine is similar in terms of power to the 3.6-liter V6 from last year. The 0 to 60 time is around 7 seconds. It provides plenty of passing and merging power, along with more linear delivery, which makes for a smoother acceleration. It's comparable to the standard V6s found in the Kia and Honda, but you wouldn't call it fast. Driving the Atlas is reassuring. A raft of active safety features, smooth driving dynamics, and a commanding view all contributes to a relaxing ride. The steering is light in the city and weighs up well on the highway, though it is almost devoid of feedback, but it's still precise. When you switch to sport mode, you won't notice much of a difference in how the suspension feels, but to be honest, it's not really a big deal. Volkswagen has always been good at getting the suspension set up right, and the Atlas is no exception. While it may not be a corner carver, it handles the weight of the vehicle quite well. It provides a smooth ride in the city, and surprisingly, it's quite maneuverable despite its size. So, which one should you choose? Well, I think it's really simple. The Atlas just seems to offer a better overall package even at a slightly higher premium, with space for both cargo and passengers being a highlight compared to the Pilot.